Hello everybody, Seek the Sky, New Game Plus, good to see you guys again. Sorry for the playing Metroid Prime 4, I didn't want any spoilers. I totally understand. Hope you guys are doing well. Because there are 3 save files, because this is the 2-ship, 2 Harkinian PC port. That's why there are 3 save files. And you'll notice everything is like nice and crisp, and it's not the old Nintendo resolution. So I'm not playing on the original hardware. I'm using the PC port. Sorry for the delay in getting things set up. You know, it's when you play one game over and over again, you can just let all the stream settings be, but I had to like change stuff. All right. Glad to have everybody back. Seeing this guy, you said something when you first came in. Mental gen? I'm not sure what that is. Please clarify. The bongo and many masks, exactly. Yeah, let's get to it. There's many things I could say about this game. I'm assuming most people have played it, so I'm not going to worry too much about the cutscenes. or what people, you know, if you've never played it before, so sorry. It's still kind of annoying that we still can't use Majora's Mask 3D assets for 2-Ship 2 Arcanine. It is annoying. I did look for them. I used them for a non-live playthrough of Ocarina of Time, and it was awesome, but you know, we got the HD. Like, you'll notice everything is nice. A spoonerism of gentleman. I'm not sure what spoonerism is, but I'm guessing it's like internet slang. But that's what I thought. Like an anagram of gentleman. That's cool. That's the only time we hear Navi, exactly. See, I like how it doesn't specifically tell you he's off to find Navi, but you know, it's not subtle by any means. He's going to find Navi. We hear Navi's little twinkle, and then we get his relationship with Tattle. So, but they just don't ever say the word Navi. An entrance word describing the other players in the server chat room and smaller players noobs in the gaming community. Fish and mailed. I like that one. The Skull Kid. I always loved his design. I thought he looked great in this game. I did watch a short half-hour video on just to kind of like brush up again on like the... I can't skip any of this, by the way. I'm sure I could if I change the settings, but, you know, whatever. Let's just watch it. But I brushed up on the development of this game, and basically it had to be made in a year, and then Miyamoto was like, we can extend it, and Onuma was like, no, we're gonna do this in a year. Even though he was the one most stressed out. But this game, there's a lot to discuss in this game. Yeah. Eamon says, on the hunt for Navi after she made a run for it at the end of Ocarina of Time. Yeah, she's like, I'm not hanging out with this guy anymore. I was hoping they put a setting in. I looked for it yesterday when I was setting this up, but sometimes the PC ports, they they do stuff to like update the game, obviously. I was looking for something to get rid of that fog, but I couldn't find it. So there it is. Where did Navi actually end up? I've got free camera controls. Alright, I'm not gonna... We're just gonna go classic. I love these little hops, like the little back flips and things, or front flips. I don't know where Navi ended up. That's a great question. From what I understand, in the Zelda universe, fairies are like spiritual beings. I don't know if the Japanese would consider them as like on the level of like a kami, but I think they're supposed to be some sort of spiritual creature. So maybe to where all the fairies live. And this right here established him as a horrible villain. He got rid of Epona. Jerk. I meant to figure out how to do a save state, so it would be a lot easier for me to stop and go when I needed to, but... So in the interview, in one of the interviews about this game, I don't know if this is new to you guys, or I just learned it yesterday and everybody knew it, but apparently this dream, I think it was Onuma, he actually was so stressed out about this game, he had a dream that was just like this, where he was being chased by Deku Scrubs, and then he came in the next day and the guy showed him the whoever was working on it, like what this cutscene would look like, and he's like, that's the dream I had last night. There's a theory that fairies fulfill a certain purpose and then disappear after it has been accomplished. That is why the fairies that heal Link simply disappear. Ah, interesting. Navi helped Link stop gaining so as far as her time, but she doesn't want Link to see her disappear, so she flies away. Some people headcanon that Navi simply ceased to exist, like any healing fairies do. The headcanon was that fairy some... Yep, exactly. Wow, you guys are on the same page there. Jeez. You have 2 engineers to take a Link. You're ugly. Oh, she's sad. How much personality a little ball of light with wings can have. It's quality animation. See, this always bothered me in Termina, that those bushes running away from you, that was a sign for you to use the Keaton mask and get the fox to pop up. But I was like, I wonder if I can get back here. You can't get back here. You never can. And it's bothered me since I was a kid. I've tried to get back here, and I wonder if any speedrunner has actually done it. I'm right now, what's going on in my head is like, okay, so Samus was a silent protagonist, Link is a silent protagonist. Why does it work in this game and not in Metroid Prime 4? This is going through my head right now. there will be some controls mistakes because I didn't take the time to look at the controls. Yeah, I don't think you can get back without wall clipping. The main reason I wanted to get back was because I wanted to play the song of healing to the petrified Deku scrub over there, which haunted me as a child. I'm like, ugh, I can't believe I get to bring this game. Okay, oh man, this is gonna be a long conversation. Anyway, I wanted to go back and heal this guy. I'll explain more about my reasoning on this later, which I don't think is very controversial, but this game is all about bringing happiness in the face of, like, annihilation. And this is the one thing you don't really get to rectify in the game. At least off the top of my head. I can't think of anything else that you don't get to rectify this, right this wrong. He's done. And the game knows it because you see the butler weeping before his son at the end of the game. But there's absolutely no return to Lost Switch, right? Yeah, I think so. Especially after you find out about the butler Deku. Yeah. Also, some people think the Petrified Deku Kid is actually the template for the Deku mask. You mean, like, story-wise, that's very clearly they're hinting that it's the butler's son. And that's where the mask came from. And here we get an awesome line. A very famous line. I love it. Met with a terrible fate, haven't you? Creeper. I wouldn't say it's the theme of Majora's Mask that you can't save everyone. Because by getting the masks and then getting the dawn of the new day, if you get all the masks, you do see that everybody does have a happy ending that you interact with and get the masks for. So even though you can't, yes, I would agree with you if that scene wasn't in there. But because you obviously can't save everybody in a 3-day cycle, which is something you do have to kind of reconcile. So I'll retract 50%. I think part of that's right. Seeking the sky. That's a good observation. It's Vati's laugh. Did this game come out before or after the game with Vati in it? I can't remember. So yeah, feel free to bring up Zelda theories, game design stuff, you know, whatever. There's so much to talk about with this game that, you know, I actually took some notes down of some things I want to discuss. And I think for like this first episode, let's see, I took some notes, things I want to talk about. Okay, so just so you guys know where I'm coming from when it comes to like analyzing this game, there's a concept in media and in storytelling called death of the author, which I might have talked about before, so forgive me if this is a repeat. But it's the idea that while, like, looking at, like, this game, for example, was written and created by a group of people, but Onuma was definitely had a big hand in it. And his insight as to what things mean is important. But what is more important is what the game actually communicates. Okay? So if Onuma's like, says in an interview, this game is all about being thankful for what you have. You know, he would then have to make arguments with examples from the game to like make that clear. Okay? And in that sense, while every interpretation of this game, it's fine to make that assertion, it doesn't mean that every claim about what this game is about is valid. Okay? So that's one thing. Like, if you're going to make a claim about what this game's all about, you know, you should be able to back it up with the game itself, not necessarily what Onuma, even though he's the author, thinks about it. Because he might have done a poor job in communicating his idea. Okay, so that's one thing. Also, what this game means to you is different than what this game is communicating. So, like, this game has a lot of emotion behind it, and this part is a little subjective. It's like how this game impacts you, the player, or is a valid thing. Like, you can say, oh, this part of the game really impacted me because of XYZ. So you can definitely say that, but when you kind of reach that when you go too far and say, and that's what this game is all about, then that's a bit of a problem. You know, because again, you have to kind of back it up with evidence from the game itself. So we could talk about all sorts of stuff, you know, how people interpret this game, what it means, but I'm coming at it from, there are objective things that we can determine about this game, like it's all about happiness, spreading happiness, and it's all about you can't save everyone. That's definitely true. But, you know, that's kind of where I'm coming from. I don't want to go in here completely saying every interpretation of this game is valid, because I don't think that. Even if that's what Onuma wanted, even if he said, I want people to this to be open to interpretation. It's like, yes, you could do that, but the game itself, you know, you got to then back that up with events that happen in the game itself and what the game is actually communicating. Okay. I'll get to the comments in a second. I gotta figure out what to do now. It's been a while since I've played this game, and I thought just by going to the ferry, I could start the side quest where I could find the fairies. Is that true? Yo, please find the one stray fairy who's lost in... Oh, that's right. I thought there were 4. There's only 1 at the start. And I checked every place that it wasn't. I know where it is. Okay. Yes, I'll turn down the game audio a bit. Brings up the Link is dead theory. Oh yeah, that theory. Yeah. And it says, the death of the author is a literary theory introduced by Roland Barthes in 1967, meaning the text meaning isn't dictated by the author's life or intent, but rather the reader's interpretation. Right, but I'm using... I don't take it that far. When I first learned about it, it was just actually Mahler and his crew brought it up. What I'm saying is, and I do think that this is more important, and if that is the original theory that I'm not quite... I think the theory should be tweaked. I'm tweaking it to more of what the literary what the literature actually communicates is determined by the text itself. Okay, so like, you and I, we'd all agree that if I said that this game was about, like, let's take an extreme example. This game is about, I'm trying to think of something completely ridiculous. Okay, we could do a blunt example. This game is about Link returning to his love Zelda. On a thematic level. Like, if I were to make that claim, you would say, well, wait a minute, why? That doesn't make any sense. There's nothing in... Zelda shows up for one point in this game, but then all of a sudden, you know, he never mentions her. There's no cutscenes with her. There's no scene of Link looking at a picture of Zelda longingly. How can you say that? It's like, you and I would both agree that that's not a valid interpretation, because there's nothing in the text itself or in the game itself to back that up. So that's what but if Onuma says that, if the author says, oh yeah, this game's totally about Link returning to Zelda, I would say, you might have intended that, Onuma, but you failed to communicate that. And what this game actually communicates is XYZ, and here's why. That's what I mean when I say death of the author. So I have to look into the details of it, so because I might be wrong in using that term, death of the author, but that's my view on literary interpretation. And it comes from being someone who's more of like a textual originalist, meaning I want to know what all of these words and like why the images and story beats meant when they were made, and like, yes, the author's intent is very important, but it's not the end-all be-all. Check the laundry pool, yeah. I haven't forget this won't be a repeat of Metroid Prime 2 Seeking the Sky, I promise. Where you're directing me the whole time. Shoot, what did she tell me to do? Maybe it will be. Oh yeah, she gave me magic. Okay, that's right. Uh-oh. Looking is with the other control stick. I also kind of wonder how Majora's Mask and the Fierce Deity Mask factor into the adult timeline. Wouldn't that be interesting to explore? Yes, it would. Personally, I've always been in the camp that Majora's Mask is a game about the stages of grief and accepting death. Literal snot bubbles. Yeah, that's another theory that I kind of like. That it's all about the stages of grief. And that's a valid, I think that is a valid interpretation to explore. Like, off its face, it's not quite as ridiculous as, like, this game's about clowns, and there's no clowns in the game. You know, that's all I mean. I'm just saying, it's fine to say to yourself, oh man, I got this out of the game, and it impacted me in this way, but it's another thing to say, and this is what the game was trying to communicate the whole time. Like, you can't really do that unless you back it up. But yeah, the Stages of Grief one is definitely has stronger merit to what this game is actually all about than this game's all about clowns or Link returning to Zelda. Oh, come here, you little... Don't go in the loading zone! Yeah, they are super fast, which is why I'm like, okay, wait, I have to stop talking and actually... and actually focus here. Alright, where's this last one? Oh, he's down at the pool. I think. Oh, no, he's not. Shoot. Where'd he go? Oh, he's up. Yeah, that's right. I have to go into the inn. There he is, that little brat. Oops. I hate when he goes back. Oh, come on. Why? Ugh. I'll reload him. It is the worst. Hopefully he reloaded and it's not. Okay, good. Don't have to do some weird shenanigans to get past him and get into Hyrule Field early. No. Okay. Yes, I gotta herd him like a sheep. Yeah. Aw, no way, you finally got me. I forget, is the code the same time? I mean, same every time? I think it is. Two, 1, 4, 3, 5. 2, 1, 4, 3, 5. Pretty sure it is. Okay. There was a time when I did have that memorized. 2, 1, 4, 3. A lot of pretty cool stuff down there. So you notice how this is like, this is the tutorial section of the game, essentially, where you're like learning the ropes of moving around and movement, but it doesn't feel like a tutorial section. Like you're actually doing stuff that progresses the plot and gaining knowledge about the world. You know, that's, the Zelda series is hit or miss sometimes on that, but oh my goodness, seriously? Yeah, okay. No. Why can't I do it? Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Oh. I'm dumb. I swear this won't be like Metroid Prime 2 See the Sky. I promise. I loved this place as a kid. I love the detail that they put in. Look. Let's picture a Tingle. The chicken. Scarecrow. We'll see you later. This game is awesome. Well, a strange-looking child. Clearly not a child. The wide room of Majora Blaine is an interesting non-place. Yeah. Is it not even on the map or something? My favorite theory about the moon is that Zelda and Star Fox share a share a universe, and or at least Termina and Star Fox share a universe, and the moon is the asteroid from the Asteroid Belt mission. With it's the asteroid with a face. Yeah, that was one of the. I mean, you could technically say it's one of those rooms that is part of that tutorial aspect of it, where they want to make sure that you understand how to use the shot, the bubble shot. There's just so much going on in this part of the game. It's simple and it's straightforward, but it really it gives you a tour of Clocktown. It builds out the world. It gives you a ton of questions. It teaches you the game mechanics. I don't know, and it gets you excited to actually get out of Clocktown. In a lot of ways. Okay, now I have to caveat this. In a lot of ways, this game did improve upon. Technically speaking, improved upon Ocarina of Time. I still think Ocarina of Time is a masterpiece, and therefore this game is also a masterpiece. But they pulled off what Tears of the Kingdom did not. Tears of the Kingdom reused the same game world. This game reused a ton of different assets from the game, but it didn't, it still feels new and fresh. You know, that was oh man, what a missed opportunity. I like the HD textures that these guys added in. Why can't I look? Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing. The game did not have the same sense of wonder that that Breath of the Wild had because of the map. It's like what people say happened between BioShock 1 and 2. I think we talked about this before. How it's like people were used to Rapture. We were used to the era of the wild Hyrule, and therefore it didn't hold the same sense of wonder and exploration, even though there was the depths. Okay, start. Okay. There you go. Got a deed. Oh yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Tears of the Kingdom is an incredible game. It's a huge accomplishment. It's a lot of fun. It's just, you know, story-wise and feel-wise, a gameplay experience includes everything. You know, music, art direction, story is huge, and gameplay. And the overall experience is something worth talking about. Like, technically the game is amazing, the gameplay is a ton of fun, but the overall gameplay experience is just dragged down by the fact that they reuse the map. So, you know, it's a shame. But this game avoided that by putting Link in a new setting, even though it reused all the assets. Like, it wasn't like, oh, it's just the same assets all over again. It kind of had the same feel that the day and night cycle had between the day and night cycle and the child and adult timeline had an Ocarina of Time, whereas like you knew you were entering into the same world, but now it's nighttime. What's different? That was like your big thing in your mind. And there was a little bit of that going on with Tears of the Kingdom, but not enough. Or I don't know. Like, I don't really know how to put it to words. Like, you wanted to explore the same areas over and over again because you want to know what's different, and they did that with the upheaval, but a lot of it was just repetitive. Like, I remember playing Tears of the Kingdom and going back to, remember the big fortress that you can scale, and you get to the top and there's those cannons at the top, and being in Breath of the Wild being like, man, I hope there's some DLC where I actually can go into the fortress. And then in Tears of the Kingdom, the upheaval happens, and there's now a hole in it, and you're like, oh, I'm finally gonna go into this fortress, and you go in, and it's just a generic cave, one of the hundreds that are now littered over Hyrule, and it's like, what a wasted opportunity. You know. I also don't like the inexplicable disappearance. Yes, exactly that. That was another thing. It's they tried so hard to distance it from Breath of the Wild, not realizing that Breath of the Wild was what made it special. Oh man, I love the work they did to make these posters actually show things. I guess this is a good part of the game to to just discuss stuff, because we just have to wait. Is there anything else I can do right now that, like, I can collect money, I guess? Hang on one second. Okay. Sorry about that. There's that Deku Flower game. Oh, yeah. Good idea. Where is that? I think another reason why this game appealed to so many people. Wait, where is it? I am Burning Daylight. It's not in here. This is the arrow one, right? Yeah. It's okay. We still have the final day. North Clock Town. Oh. Thank you. Well, can't do it now. Hang on, I'm actually going to use this time to this is the UI for the game, and I had accidentally Controls. Okay, these are all the controls, graphics, general. I need camera. I want it y-axis. I do not want inverted x-axis. I don't want free look because that's messing with right stick aiming while moving. Invert. Okay, we'll see how that works. Okay, here's a question for everyone. Does this game need the Zelda IP? Need the Zelda IP to be as good as it is? The games don't exist in a vacuum, so I suppose we'll never know. Wait, so wait, what's the question? It's behind the fence. Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you. See this guy, I missed you, man. But I didn't really need any help during Metroid Prime 4 because the game is so simple. Wait, Tim, you said, okay, here's a question. Does this game need the Zelda IP to be... Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Like, if they palette swapped everything... That's a good... Yeah, I tend to agree with Seeking the Sky. The game doesn't exist in the vacuum, and part of its familiarity is what drew people to it. Because, again, like... This is a character we know. This is Link. Hi, Link. From Ocarina of Time, a game we adore. And now he's on a new adventure in a completely new world. And it's all part of the overall experience of the game. And all of these characters that we're kind of familiar with already. So it kind of drives that exploration, and we want to figure... It's a mystery box, essentially, that's never really quite answered. And, you know, mystery boxes, they can be pulled off really well or poorly. Here, they never really address it. Like, where is Termina? Why is this happening? And that's part of the overall experience of the game, I think. So, well, if this game was completely palette swapped with a new protagonist and everything, could it have done really well? Yes, it could have. But where it fits in the overarching story of Zelda... While it is kind of disconnected, like Link's Awakening, it does have a place. And like Seeking the Sky said, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. Hey, buddy. Hurry, 6 hours to go. This place will shut down for the day. If you don't hurry. Oh. It's okay, guys. I got it. I'll come back. Seeking the Sky says, Zelda games are one of two things. 1, Link goes to the destined adventure to defeat Ganon, or 2, Link ends up in a bizarre world trying to find his way out. Watch the clock. I just am engrossed in the conversation, guys, okay? I'll come back. Don't worry. It's not like I'm it's not like the world's gonna end tomorrow, okay? Where's Tingle? I guess I could get money. Well, I'm all gonna lose it. I'm gonna make another nerdy point now while I have you guys captive. In this, I'm gonna pontificate again. Sorry. Hey there, little guy. Won't you deposit some rupees? Nowadays, even if people have money, they don't deposit nothing. Yeah. Wait, this is new. I'm not supposed to be able to do this, right? Like, in the original game, he rejects you because of he's a Deku scrub, right? I can't remember. We should try to ask game theory questions to try to see how many times time-based things we can make him miss. I don't think so. Mandela effect? Okay. Probably. I was wrong. Okay, ready? Here's my nerdy take here that combines two of my favorite, one of my favorite IPs and one of my favorite authors. But I mentioned Tolkien's On Fairy Stories before, and one of the reasons I think this game is so well loved, and a lot of Zelda games are so well loved, is because it fits the bill for Tolkien's criteria for what makes a fairy story and like the purpose of them. Okay? Alright, here we go. There's 3 purposes to fairy stories. 3. The first is called recovery, he calls it. And basically, when you're interacting with a fairy story correctly, it helps you you engage with this fantasy world, and then when you go out into the real world, you then have a greater appreciation for what you do have. It's like, I think he or maybe it was Lewis who expounded upon this, but basically like when you go through a magical forest in a fantasy world, it makes a real world forest seem more magical, like that kind of idea. Okay, that's the first. So this magical world, because of its themes and how it works, kind of makes our own real world more magical in a sense. The second is escape, okay? Escapism, which wasn't a bad thing to Tolkien. He goes to great lengths to distinguish between escapism and you abandoning your duty, which I've already talked about. But escapism is there is something about the world that is filled with, the world is filled with troubles and everything like that, and it's good to get away from that sometimes and interact with a world that is not your own and filled with wonder, and also has its own dangers, but you're removed from it. And the final thing that I think is most important is a happy ending. Okay, so he calls it consolation, but essentially it's the idea that in Tolkien's mind, every fairy story, if it didn't have a happy ending, it wasn't a fairy story, because you need this cathartic moment to bring the whole story to a close. And if you don't have that, then you're missing the point of the purpose of fairy stories. He calls it a eucatastrophe, like the opposite of catastrophe. So the game is filled with catastrophes, but then at the very end, there's the eucatastrophe, the good one that appears, and kind of rights all wrongs. And that game has this like in spades, especially if you get all the masks. So while there are times when a not happy ending is appropriate for stories, but I think there's something about humans that just love the happy ending, and it's part of what makes this game great. Like there's good happy endings and there's bad happy endings, but this game has a really good like ending to the story that really makes it satisfying. So I think were this game written down, Tolkien would approve of it. Hey, Buffy. Aha. What you gonna do now? All that for nothing. Yes, the ominous undertone. That's another thing about this game. The third day has that, like, ominous undertone. Did you know, New Game Plus says, did you know that the routine for playing the bell sound in this game is hilariously unoptimized? No, I did not know that. Tolkien's Fairy Story versus the hero's journey. Yeah, the hero's... I mean, I think both can exist, for sure. I mean, the hero's journey is present throughout Tolkien's writings. And he wrote on fairy stories before he wrote Lord of the Rings. So Lord of the Rings is his attempt to tell a true fairy story, which is why the ending is the way it is. Don't want to spoil it if you haven't saw the movies. Yeah, the ominous undertones. All that for nothing. Well, yeah, that I don't know I think if you're referencing like the not happy ending, like yeah, that's people get to the point where you know, you watch a story. That's why like telling a good story is supposed to have good setups and payoffs. And when you don't set things up properly, the payoff just doesn't hit as hard. And that's why it's like you want your hero to go through hell, because if he doesn't go through hell, then the ending, like the positive ending, doesn't really mean as much. Like Sam and Frodo had to go through hell, only to actually like fail in their quest for the ending to actually mean anything, you know? Makes me think of Brandon Sanderson. Says he can't write a grimdark stories. When he tried, it was Grimdark Assassin that ended up with love and a happy ending. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that's what I'm who knows why George R.R. Martin hasn't finished. Yeah, totally. That's totally what I was gonna do. Get the get the Tingle map. Never has a character been so hated and loved as Tingle. Where'd he go? Oh, man. Too busy talking that I was late again for another timed event. This game's gonna be hard, guys, because of that. Anyway, I think one of the reasons that George R.R. Martin is having trouble finishing his story is because I think he tried to base it off of reality and like real history, and in that, like, heroes don't exist. In a sense, like, he's made that abundantly clear that like you play nice, you're gonna die. And I think if I had to give my own reason as to why he's kind of stalled out, is because he doesn't know where the story can go. Like, he inadvertently set up a big bad in the Night King, but I don't think he wants to take it there, because then if the Night King is gone, then the existential threat of the world is gone, and I don't think he knows where to take it after that. I think because he didn't structure it like a traditional fairy tale, like Tolkien's fairy tale analysis or criteria, he's kind of stuck as to where he wants to take it. All right, guys. For those of you who don't know, Brandon Sanderson is the author of Mistborn and the Stormlight Archives, Skyward, and Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians. Evil Librarians? That's cool. I'm going to write that down, actually. I've been thinking about different fantasy books. My wife right now is all into the Pendragon cycle. She's been listening to those books non-stop, and she loves them. So I've been thinking getting back into fantasy fantasy reading. You're reasonably sure he just went up into balloon mode. Why? Oh, sorry, the control's a little weird. I don't know why it's doing that. Mistborn and Stormlight. What a convoluted door. Guess it would keep people out. We gotta go. The end of the world happens because I was looking for Tingle. Or because I can't play the game properly. Yeah. So are we all in agreement that the goddess of time is Hylia? Right? That's right. Wow, because of the HD, you can really tell that the stars are just pixels. Oh, man. They should have fixed that. Talk about immersion breaking. Hyrule Warriors, the first one with Sia in it, is not canon though, right? I love that scream he does. It's so awesome. I want to know who recorded that. Bird o'clock. You got the Ocarina of Time back. Princess Zelda gave you this precious instrument. Set to C and use A. Suddenly, memories of the princess come rushing back to you. See, this is important for the game because this is one of the games where Zelda is not really present, but yet she still fulfills her function as a kind of like divine aid for Link. So wherever she's present in a game, she kind of represents the providential spiritual aid that Link receives. And he's the muscle. I actually okay, hang on. Sorry, the other control stick is what I'm supposed to use. Yeah, I have heard that theory before, that Hyrule Warriors should have been canon because it would converge the timelines, which would give us Breath of the Wild, which I thought a convergence of the timelines would have made way more sense, but then Tears of the Kingdom ruined it. Anybody, goddess of time, help us. Okay, oh man, look at the HD. This looks amazing. Oops. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right A down. Right A down. Personally, I think there's more evidence to suggest that Zelda is the goddess of time, or sorry, Hylia is the goddess of time, because Zelda has both light and time. The one useful thing about, I mean, she has the Ocarina of Time. It's her family heirloom. And then she also has time powers in Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know. I think it fits. The way it is, Hyrule isn't canon. Wouldn't it be cool if it got the true story adaptation? Yeah, I mean, my biggest problem with the Hyrule Warriors games is that the stories always seem to be pretty weak, and I haven't played the newest one. The gameplay for me is just too the gameplay for me is just too unrealistic. If I can even say that as a gamer. But I remember in in the Breath of the Wild one, the Age of Calamity, you get like you oh, I gotta go back here. Alright, we'll get the Song of Healing and we'll turn back to a kid. And then we'll save it. Were you able to recover your precious item? I love the organ just shows up out of nowhere. Kojima. Not Kojima. What was the name of the composer who wrote all this awesome Zelda music? Someone help me. He's awesome. Bye. Heals magics. Yeah, I mean, this game definitely has the very strong theme of, like, healing from the past. The Deku Mask. Koji Kondo, yes. Koji Kondo. He just shows up and writes masterpieces. Part of me wants more depth into Majora, but I think they just need to leave it. I don't want any more backstory. I just want to be like, we don't know where he came from. There was the manga that, like, isn't really canon, that showed, like, the origin of Majora or something like that. But I kind of like how it's just mysterious, like we don't know where. He's probably part of the demon tribe that was controlled by Demise. And that's it. I think if they were to try to explain, like if they were to try to add more lore in different games that explained Termina or explained Majora, or explained the Happy Mask Salesman, or explained this game in any deeper way, it would retroactively ruin this game. So as much as I want to know more about this game, I'm fine with having just to theorizing about it. Yeah, the dancing beast. It was a cool idea. Like, I liked it when I read it. And it's so far, like, out there and removed that maybe there's no, like, conflict with where this thing comes from. Yes, exactly. Too much knowledge ruins the magic. I'm like expecting my little communicator to pop up and Miles being like, "Did you get the green energy crystals? Feel free to explore, but don't go that way." Or that way, or that way. Seeking the Sky says, headcanon, Majora's Mask originated from the pre-Sheikah Dark tribe. It and the fierce deity were two calamitous demons that served demise, along with the demons of the bound chest. Yeah, maybe. See, I don't really like the term headcanon. Because you could use the context from the games, from established canon, to build that argument, and that could be a pretty darn good argument. And someone just saying, "Oh, that's just headcanon," is like, it's like very dismissive of maybe what could be a real working theory. So yes, that was my first thing. To use the inverted Song of Time. I have to learn it though, right? From Mr. Scarecrow. Yo, baby! Okay, time will pass in a blink of an eye even if I dance with me. Shall we? Do I have to dance with him? No, once you have the Song of Time, you can use it. Okay, thank you. No. Shall we dance? No. Oh, oops. Sorry. I meant to hit no. Okay, oh, wait, sorry. Down. Oops. I did it by accident. I played the right song by accident. So it's down, A, right. Okay, hang on. Oops. Down, A, right. Down, A, right. There we go. I knew I could do it. It would be horrible if it was made today. They would try to tell too much. There would be no restraint with the story, I think. I mean, that was, in a sense, the problem with Tears of the Kingdom. They had a story in mind, and it revealed too much. And in that one sense, it was very not like previous Zelda games. Breath of the Wild had restraint. But because this was a direct sequel in the same world, it built upon everything and teetered over to the point where this is not good anymore. It removed mystery and wonder from the world because it told everything, which is, it's so funny because like unless you're like a Silmarillion guy and you read the Silmarillion, Tolkien's world had that. Like, he had that restraint with Lord of the Rings. Like, if you just read Lord of the Rings, you're gonna be filled with that sense of wonder. And I would argue, even with the Silmarillion, there's still that there, but that's like extra. The Skull Kid and Fairies would likely suffer from Marvel writing, and we'd constantly hit with sus lingo. Yeah, I mean, there is a trend in in media today that to use modern colloquialisms in games, which kind of removes immersion from it. Like, this is a fantasy world with its own culture, and I need to believe that. All right. Oh, wow. It completely takes you out of the game. I didn't think it did that. Cool. The Lord of the Rings is good, but what is Aragorn's tax policy? Yeah. Dang millennials. That was fun, guys. Seeking the Sky. New Game Plus. It's good to have you guys back. Tim, if you're still here, thanks for hanging out. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about this. To discuss Zelda theories and maybe get into some debates about what it all means and everything like that. So this is going to be good, guys. If you're new watching, please like and subscribe. It really helps me. I feel weird saying that even now just because I've never really done it before. Make sure to check out the Discord, by the way. Lots of new vids. Awesome. Yeah, the Discord is there. So far, it's just me, Eamon, and Tim. But Eamon shares videos regularly. I share periodically. And, of course, all my videos get put up there. So if you want to keep up with all my stuff, that's a good place to do it. But, yeah, thanks for hanging out. This is a lot of fun. I'll be back on tomorrow. I am toying with the idea of not streaming on the weekends just so I have time to keep up with building up shorts and planning things, but you know, we'll see. I really enjoy streaming. It's a ton of fun playing games and hanging out with people. So anyway, have a great Friday, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow.